Holly Willoughby last night said the admission of the previously denied relationship from Phillip Schofield was very hurtful.
Right, OK. ITV had denied they had any evidence of such a relationship between Schofield and a much younger staff member when it first investigated the rumour in 2020.
Well, an insider has suggested this morning could be axed.
Wow. Joining us now is Showbiz reporter Stephanie Takyi. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning,
They've got front pages. Every single paper.
This story is not going to give up anytime soon, and you know, there just seems like there's more damaging bombshells that keeps coming up and keeps coming out more. And to be honest, because it's a blame game now, we know the facts, but now people are looking for who's going to take blame for this. You know, we know Phillip Schofield has admitted to having an affair with this younger male colleague, but it's that duty of care that people are thinking. Does it lie with ITV, who has said they did investigate this in 2020 and both parties denied it? And now Holly, because people are saying Holly must have known. Look how close they are. They have a close friendship. They go on holidays together. That is her co-presenter. Well, that was her co-presenter. So how does she not know? And I think now people are trying to save themselves, and that's why Holly has put out this statement. But sometimes it feels a little bit too late now that This Morning brand has been tainted.
Because it's about trust, isn't it? And the problem with all of this, look, maybe Holly Willoughby is being absolutely truthful. Maybe she asked him about the rumours, he denied it, so she believed it. But the problem is, the rest of it, I mean, certainly in the news business, the rest of us, we know the name of this young man.
We do.
Because we've known it for years.
Yep, and you can just go on Twitter and you see that image of him being plastered all over Twitter, all over social media. So it's hard to deny that this is such a big situation. And as the Mail says, he was 15 when he met Schofield. That's still very young, and people are still going to question whether this man has in fact been groomed by Schofield.
The trouble is, though, that's all speculation, isn't it? And and Philip's been very keen to stress that everything was above the law.
Yeah. Totally. But I guess there is that question of abusing your power and abusing your authority, and how far did ITV really go to make sure that this man was protected?
Do you think, though, Stephanie, now that there are questions to be asked of the powers that be over ITV, and that more senior heads will probably roll over this one?
I think so, because you can't sweep this situation underneath the carpet now, and it's just the more damage. Even though it was a legal and consensual relationship, you still have your shining star, Phillip Schofield, who hasn't been embroiled in something like this. And people are going to ask, why did it go on for so long? And there's so many people that are involved, including our own Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langsford. There's so many people who were intrinsically involved in this situation, so I think there's more to come from this.
So, now the question, I mean, one insider saying this morning, you know, because we've been saying all weekend, can Holly survive this? She's trying her best, but can she really?
I don't think she can.
But what about This Morning as a brand?
To be honest, I think from even before this scandal came out, a lot of people have been saying we have a wealth of talent, of TV talent in this country, and it seems like This Morning has grown stale from Q-Gate. People were kind of talking about how they were bored of Holly and Phil, and ITV just seemed determined to keep them there and keep the show there. So there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to have to rebrand, because, to be honest, now the show, people aren't going to be focused on the show, they're going to be focused on the controversy. Holly, I take my hats off to her that she still wants to push through, but is she really going to be able to do her job with all this pressure and knowing that the public can just tweet, Instagram all this abuse to her and the show? So I think if ITV know what's best for them, they would want to change and rebrand.
Do you... I mean, Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary are said to be furious, because they're the ones that are tipped to take over if This Morning survives and it does need a new presenter. Alison and Dermot are the favourites to do so. But the story in one of the papers today is that they are furious that they had to pay tribute to Schofield. And let's face it, it was a very weird, stilted... It was like an obituary.
It was. It was only a week ago, you know, he stood down and people, his colleagues, he still had the support of his colleagues and ITV, and he was still going to have that ongoing relationship with them, being tipped to even have his own show. But a week later, it's all changed. But it's changed rightly so. But then you have to think to yourself, are people just trying to save their own back? weeks.
Do you think we'll ever see him on TV again?
No, I'm sorry. It's too late now. His reputation is in tatters. It's a shame. It's a sad end to a 40-year career because he was very much loved by the public, and ITV, he was one of their most bankable stars. But now you just can't shake off that controversy.
But you see, that's why it's not... Although I sort of agree with your view that I think Holly's days on This Morning and probably this morning's days are done. It's certainly not the end of her career. She'll be able to take a break and come back to something new.
Holly hasn't done nothing wrong here. I think people are just painting it out as guilty by association, and her career will go on. She's married to Dan Baldwin, who's a very big TV executive. So right now it's all about damage control for Holly, and I think she will go on because it's not fair that her career comes to an end as well. She's got a very long way to go. It just means that for her, personally, with This Morning, I think she should just close the door on that chapter.
Is it one man's behaviour, as in Phillip Schofield, how it's affected so many women in particular, Holly Willoughby, obviously his wife, his daughters and his mum?
I think people are forgetting about his family here because they're also having to relive this story and relive this pain. So I know even though Phillip's taken the hit, there's a wider network of people who are also going to be affected by this.
I guess we've got to not jump to conclusions because the Mail on Sunday saying that he's being supported by his two daughters at the moment. So, I mean, clearly, it's not as though they're abandoning him.
No. And he's always been a family man. All through his scandals, even when he did come out as gay, he was still having a close relationship with his wife, Stephanie, and his daughters. And, they've probably known about this for a while. I'm just speculating, but I'm sure they're going to stand by him and support him. And that's what he needs the most because, as we've seen before, when these scandals come out, it affects people's mental health. I spoke about Caroline Flack. I know it's two different situations, but still getting that intense scrutiny, it's a lot for anybody to cope with.
It's just very odd to think of... I'll tell you what it reminds me of a little bit, is Michael Barrymore.
Yes.
And for those who... Michael Barrymore, who was the biggest star... in the UK, and then there was a scandal. Never been prosecuted, everything. Nothing's ever gone through against him. And then he's just vanished. I bumped into him once, and he's in London, in Charlotte Street, and he came and said hello to me because he recognised me. It's like, oh, Michael Barrymore.
Most loved TV star.
Yeah, and it's just like his life has fundamentally changed, whether you think it's right or wrong. And to see Schofield is going to go the same way, isn't he?
Definitely. But I think from what I've been reading, on social media, it seems like the public are caught up because some of the public say, well, that's his personal life.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything wrong here. The boy was legal. That's his personal thing, so why are we making a big issue of it? He does a good job on TV, but it seems now, these days, if you are a TV star, you can't separate your personal and your
people
public
have affairs.
life.
People at work have affairs. I mean, that is a done thing. But going back to the Mail on Sunday's headline today, Schofield Lover was just 15 when they met with the emphasis on 15. Now, Phillip Schofield nothing illegal happened, absolutely. But, however... do you think there might be a case now for the police to look into this relationship and what happened?
Dawn, it depends what comes out over the next few weeks because, to be honest...
you think there's more?
I think there is more. The newspapers are having a field day with this. Once you give the newspapers a little bit to run with, they're going to keep on digging, and there'll be more people who will be coming out with stories, even people who've worked on This Morning, former colleagues, people who've been in touch with Phillip. So this story, as much as viewers might be bored of it, it is going to get bigger.